At each school board meeting, staff members make presentations that highlight academic programs in the York County School Division. In May 2010, Mount Vernon Elementary School presented iPods, Making My World Make Sense.
We're pleased that this evening's presentation is from Mount Vernon Elementary School. It's entitled iPods, Making My World Make Sense. And this evening, Mrs. Mary Ligo and Ms. Holly Wittenberg will present information on the use of iPod technology to support behavioral and social skill needs for students in the communication support classroom at Mount Vernon. And this particular classroom is what's called a multi-age classroom, which is just really a fancy way of saying that it serves students at different grade levels within the same classroom. And in this multi-age classroom, the students use iPods to view personalized libraries of videos that assist with initial skill acquisition and or increasing positive performance in a particular skill area. The advantages of using this particular tool include customization and portability for the student and a decrease in the need for generalization of video content. Also, the videos address a range of literacy skills and meet the needs of visual learners. And I'm thrilled that our presenters this evening will share more information with you on this topic.
Good evening. Thank you very much for having us this evening and allowing us to accent what we feel is a very exciting and innovative new use of technology in our classrooms at Mount Vernon. We would like to share some of the uses of the iPod in the classroom with you this evening, and at one point we're going to let you actually get your hands on an iPod and see firsthand what our students are experiencing. Using the iPods, we are able to deliver social stories and use it as a priming mechanism for our children with communication support needs. This allows them to be an active participant in daily classroom and school activities that would otherwise hinder them. Students in 2 communication support classes have been using this technology since the spring of 2009. So it's actually not new to us, but it is increasing day by day with our new uses. We hope that tonight you see that technology truly does play an important role in the lives of these children, and it has had a huge impact on their academic success.
We'd like to begin by telling you just a little bit more about how we're using the iPod video strategy. Within our classroom, we use this strategy to prepare our students for small group and community-based instructional activities that are novel or unfamiliar. Often these are multi-step tasks that our students haven't experienced before. What we found prior to implementing the use of the iPods is that our students were experiencing a lot of anxiety and oftentimes behaviorally overreacting before new or unfamiliar activities. So we were looking for a way to lessen their anxiety and for them to be able to preview and understand what we're doing before we began it. And we found that the iPods have really done the trick. It's been pretty exciting. We've also been able to use the iPods with different individual students to teach them social skills that are specific to their development and their needs. And we'd like to show you a little tidbit right now. We call this a slice of life. And this video is of a youngster who we were teaching how to kind of expand his food choices and how preparing him for ordering and buying lunch in the cafeteria. So you'll get to see that here.
On Fridays, I buy my lunch at school. I buy pizza. I buy pizza in the cafeteria. I also get a special treat, ice cream. I like ice cream.
I'm happy to say that that student for the last 6 months has bought his lunch once a week without incident. When he's making his lunch choice in the mornings in our classroom, he looks at the chart and he says pizza and ice cream. And we've actually been able to phase out the viewing of the iPod of this particular video since early November. So he's acquired the skill, he can now do it on his own, and he doesn't need the video anymore. One of the other things that we do within our classrooms is, our learning takes place everywhere, and this year we've actually begun some community-based instructional outings where we can work on targeted skills, specifically social communication and motor skills, out in community settings, teaching our students how to apply these skills and to do things that their typical peers are doing as well. We recently took a trip to our local bowling alley, and we'll let you see a little tidbit of that video. The bowling alley.
This is where we're coming to bowl. Let's go inside and get started. Okay, first you're going to give the man your number. And he's going to give you your shoes. After we get our bowling shoes, then we take off our shoes. And we put on the special shoes for bowling. Fun!
Now, that was the abbreviated version. Our video actually extended past that and showed the different activities that we were going to engage in, as well as bowling and eating lunch there at our local bowling alley. But we saw some pretty significant changes in behavior. Our students were able to take off their street shoes, put on their bowling shoes without behavioral overreaction. They waited their turn and they bowled for an hour. I think one of the really cool parts about this as well was that the portability of the iPods. We had one student who was experiencing some anxiety on the bus ride over to the bowling alley. We were able to show him the video right there and lessen and decrease that anxiety. We had another student who arrived late at the bowling alley with his parent. We were able to get him on board and preview for him what he was going to be doing by having the iPod right there on hand at the bowling alley.
So at this time, we are going to give you an iPod and let you take a look at one of the social stories. One thing that we want to stress, what has made such a huge impact is that these videos are personalized. They are personalized to the student. They are personalized to the situation. So many times we are able to import video from a website that showed a bowling outing. But what we were not able to do was put the student in the exact building where he or she was going to be experiencing the activity. So this has allowed for personalization and overcome yet another hurdle that we were facing with social stories. And once you are set, if you can just press play, and you will see the video of this child learning to keep his shoes on during the day. And as Ms. Wittenberg was saying, the wonderful thing about this is the portability. This child can come into school in the morning and he knows to go to get his iPod and to play this portion. When we're making a transition to another class or to lunch or to recess, he can pick this up and play it again. And it's personalized to him. He understands this is my likeness, doing what I'm supposed to do. So it has made just a huge impact on his academic services that we're able to provide. Some other key points that we'd like to share with you this evening. This tool is not just used for video instruction. We can take this and then expand into all literacy areas. One of the things that the children do, they actually sit with the teacher and at times help create the text that is used for their video that is shown throughout the day or as a priming mechanism. So they are typing the text, helping edit the text, and making sure that that video is all together. One other great interesting story we have, there was a child, he was watching his video on how to calm himself during anxious or moments that were a little unsure for him. Following watching his video, he wrote a story about himself in that situation so that he wrote a story on how to calm himself. So it went straight from the video to text. And for this child, that was a huge accomplishment. We also one thing we want to keep in mind, the videos don't have to be long and they don't have to be perfect, as you saw this evening. It does have to be relevant to the student, though. That is one important thing, that we make sure that it is relevant in times that we can't have the long stories. When what actually has been a great help for us is those videos I was talking about earlier. If we were to show a sample of another child in a situation or a sample of a story, it is rather long. So by allowing us to cut and edit as necessary, it makes it relevant to the student. And one big part for us, communication is very important to us, and having a seamless family, home life, and school life for these children. So we are able to send these videos by email to the parent so they can show them at home and prepare the students the next day, and also they use it as a tool for repetition at home. So the children are seeing the same thing at school and at home, which is very important for us.
And of course, with any strategy use, there's got to be some caveats. And we tend to use these, the strategies for sticky behaviors that are problematic and that we haven't been able to teach or train or model using more traditional methods. We also use them for one-shot events, big events like field day last week, where you have one shot before you do it, and that's what you get. And so the iPods have been very helpful in that regard. We don't use the strategy in isolation. And we often pair its use with positive reinforcement of the behaviors that we're trying to teach. We also use a ton of visual schedules, visual cues, picture cue cards within our classrooms as well. And as with any instructional activity or strategy, boredom can occur, so we have to be very clever and on our toes and do multiple videos and switch out the tools that we're using in order to keep our students' attention.
Ms. Wittenberg, can you give some context for the board and other guests, viewers, in terms of, okay, so why is it a big deal to help a student learn to be able to order place their lunch order or put on shoes? If you can give a little bit of context about the nature of these students' special needs and the fact that it's a unique self-contained classroom.
Absolutely, Dr. Williams. Within our communication support classrooms, the students that we're serving are students with significant communication needs, and we're often working on functional life skills, the skills that these students are going to need in order to live as independently as possible. We're working on talking with other people, doing some of the basics of life. And what we find is that these learners are often very visual learners and sometimes have difficulty generalizing a lot of auditory information and also things that aren't exactly relevant or pertinent to them. So we're finding that we're able to bridge that gap through the use of the iPods because it's so visual and because it's them that they're seeing. We're taking out that step in learning where they have to generalize it. And it really works to address a lot of the functional skills that we spend a lot of our time working on within our classrooms.
Has there been a trend in other parts of the nation that prompted you to sort of pick up and start with this?
Well, absolutely. And I can say that training that we were provided, I'm a part of the Autism Council here at York County, and some of the coursework and the training that I received on video modeling, which is a very highly research-backed strategy for teaching students with autism, kind of impacted and got our brains spinning on how we can use this strategy within our classrooms and the iPods. Also, we're kind of starting to see in the kind of popular news media as well more of the use of iPods and different portable technological devices as means for teaching too.
I see the program as engaging, all students, obviously, and
Right.
across the spectrum in something like this. So thank you very much.
A lot to grow with.
Yes, any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you for having us this evening.
Thank you.
Congratulations.